we are focusing on the lesson 4 from the textbook English for the New Millennium. 5 dimensions of education. What are the major 5 dimensions of education? This lesson is based on the philosophical thinker or the great thinker, that is Rajneesh Osho. Rajneesh Osho is very popular for his philosophical thought. Actually, we call him Osho, but his full name is Rajneesh Osho, right? Or Rajneesh, some people call Rajneesh Jain as well. Now, we discussed yesterday with reading between the lines, page number 23 of your textbook. The great reverence for the life should be taught because life is God. We are God. Your ideas are God. And there is no other God than the life itself. And the joy, laughter, sense of humor. Life becomes happy when there is joy. The meaning of joy means happiness. Laughter, that is a sense of humor. तपाईलाई जिन्दगीमा हाँसो खुसी भएर बाँच्न सक्नुपर्छ. जिन्दगीभरि तनावमा बाँच्नु भयो भने that is not the real life in general. In
सधैँ
short,
हाँस्ने हो सर.
in short, life is like a dancing spirit. This is said by Osho. So, what would be the form of education in the new commune? Means what kind of education should be? We will be discussing this idea in this lesson. Here the word commune means community or group of people is known as commune. Now, let's start the discussion. Look at these points. Education in the past. पहिला education कस्तो थियो त? It was insufficient, incomplete, superficial. Insufficient. Education was not sufficient in the past. Actually, we are very much focused on only reading and writing, but not life. That is why the education was incomplete. People call education as superficial. Superficial means we have not gone to the depth of the sea, right? Education should focus on what ideas are, how the life has been created. So, according to Osho, education in the past, people just for getting job, just for livelihood, just to have food, people got education. But people did not think that. Actually, education does not give insight for living itself. It means education should provide us insight. But in the past, education did not provide the depth knowledge, the deep knowledge about anything. So, I just told you before, education means it should make us happy. But in the past, education destroyed the joy, destroyed the friendliness. हामी जति दिन बाँच्छौँ त्यति दिन हाँसी खुसीसँग जिउँ भन्नुहुन्छ उसो. So education should, in the past, education destroyed the joy, destroyed the friendliness. So it seems everybody is fighting against the whole world. People were educated, but they were fighting against each other. That is why it created people who are unlovely and unloving things in the past. Now, what happens? Education up to now. What would happen? What has been discussed today? Next point is discussed in this section, page number 23 and 24. That is, we took education. Examination has become important for us. You see, examination has become important for us. Why education is important? This is what we were thinking of. Many people thought that you are here simply to pass the exam. This is not true, right? People thought that education means simply to pass the examination. Many people thought that education is a part of life. Education is simply an examination. People thought it, which is not true. Which is not true. Therefore, we need to understand that life is more, learning is more important than examination. Many people still think that education does not mean only examination. They think that पढ्ने भनेको परीक्षा दिनलाई पढ्ने भनेर सोच्नुहुन्छ, which is not true. So we need to think that education is a part of life and education is a part of learning. Pass in our system, pass fail has been so much important in the life. हामी pass fail लाई बढी जोड दियौ. Examination has been important. Pass fail has been important. But what we have forgotten that life is in examination. Our life is examination. Every hour, every day, we are giving examination. गएर 3 घण्टा गएर एक्जाम दिनु भनेको examination होइन है साथीहरु. So every hour you are tested, every day you are tested, and life is a part of examination that we give. So we think that teacher is everything. We think that teacher is everything, and whatever teacher told us or said, it is only true. We need to come out from that thing. Teacher is simply a guide. We don't have to be based on the teacher. Now there are several other networks, several other groups that people can think of. People can relate with the situation that there should be no need to best of exam. Not only we are simply the supporting hands for you, but you are the person who need to work, who need to travel on your own. Nobody passes, nobody fails. So exam makes the people pass, exam makes the people fail. That's why we need to think that pass fail is not simply learning. Learning is more than what we have read. So that's why I just told you before that education up to now has been goal oriented. What you are learning is not important. What is important is the examination that comes 1 year, 2 year, 3 years later. And it makes the future important, more important than the present. Some people sacrifice the present for the future, and that become your life, your style of life. So we are always sacrificing, means giving something for our life, what is not important at the present. So dear students, if we always sacrifice, and if you think that exam life is only examination, it creates emptiness in the life, means it does not make our life happy. That's why Osho in this essay says that when you become fail, that is, as you can see on the screen, idea of failure makes people inferiority. Inferiority means weak. Fear, मान्छे फेल भयो भन्ने बित्तिकै डराउँछ, कमजोर बनाउँछ भनेको हो. The idea of failure creates the things inferiority, and the idea of being pass or successful creates superiority, means it dominates the people. If someone says, oh, I am passed, you are failed. So I am passed, you are failed. If the people become passed, it creates superiority. These are these points. Every day, students, you can write down these points, or you can take a snapshot. You can take the picture of these points so that you can write the summary later yourself. अब हाम्रो कुरा के छ भन्ने साथीहरु, तपाईले यस्तै पोइन्टहरुलाई जोडेर समरी लेख्न आफै सक्नुपर्छ। सधैँभरि टिचरको भर पर्नु हुँदैन। हामी आउँछौँ एउटा क्लास सिधाउँछौँ, कोर्स सिधाउँछौँ, तर बाटोमा हिँड्ने तपाईँ नै हो। हामीले त बाटो देखाइदिने मात्रै हो। That's why even Osho in this text says, don't depend too much on your teacher. If you have a habit of depending too much on your teacher, there will be no way out in your life. Yes, any questions? केही छ सोध्नुपर्ने नानीहरू?
No sir.
बुझ्दै हुनुहुन्छ? Yes.
बुझ्दैछ सर।
Okay, let's move further. So here comes the idea, teachers. Who are the teachers? Why teacher has been important? What is the role of teacher in our life? This is another important point that the writer Rajneesh Jain has discussed in this text. Teachers in the past were very important. Summary लेखाइदिने, नोट लेखाइदिने, हामीले यति कुरा तपाईहरुलाई यति धेरै दियौ कि तपाईले केही कुरा गर्नै परेन. That made the students lazy. There is a saying in English, let's not, when you are hungry, we will not give you fish. We will give you a technique for fishing. That's why teachers, they have knowledge. We thought that we gave more importance to the teachers, thinking that they knew everything. Teachers have knowledge, but now the situation has been changed. पहिला कुनै समयमा थियो होला. What happened? Knowledge explosion is very important. Now the situation is vast. Dear students, situation is vast than what we have discussed. You see. So life has become more important than what we see. You see. So here comes the idea that what a life is and how life is important. How life is important in the discussion, in the situation is really concerned. Knowledge has the situation have been changed. Knowledge have been more explosion, more deep, more higher, more and more. The ideas have been. That's why the knowledge explosion, knowledge expansion of knowledge has been more vast. Teachers who were 30 years ago and the teachers 30 years after that are now, it's much more different. This is what you need to understand. That's why let's learn it differently. हेर्नुस् त एकपटक कुनै समय थियो जहाँ हामी ब्ल्याक बोर्ड भन्थ्यौं. ब्ल्याक बोर्डमा चकले लेख्थ्यौं. तपाईलाई ब्ल्याक बोर्डमा चकले लेखेको सरले लेखिराख्नु भएको कुरा अहिले पनि याद होला. त्यो चेन्ज भयो. व्हाइट बोर्ड आयो, मार्करको दिन सुरु भयो. त्यति मात्रै होइन, त्यो हुँदा हुँदै तपाईहरु धेरै साथीहरु अहिले अनलाइन, you have joined online and the things have been changed and you have joined online and even we learn through videos. Yes, Vikas Trivedi, anything to share? You raise the hand. Anything to ask? Vikas bhai, के छ?
ट्राई गरे होला नि सर के हुन्छ भनेर त्यो.
ओके, अनि हात केही तपाईले प्रश्न हुनु भने हात उठाएपछि प्रश्न केही छ कि भन्ने बुझिन्छ के. That's why you need to think of. Okay, now moving further. So the things have been changed. Now small children, even they look YouTube videos, alphabets. We used to go to the classroom and learn alphabets A, B, C, D. But now even in the YouTube, there are several videos that teaches us about wild animals, domestic animals, alphabets, and many more things or ideas. So here comes the idea what the life is. You see what the life is and how the life is really useful to the situation we were discussing about this. So the things have been changed. Zamana parivartit bhayo. Things have been changed and no need to memorize. पहिला हामी घोकन्त शिक्षामा हामी बढी जोड दिन्थ्यौं. Now not only memorizing but being more practical in the nature has been the discussion of the day. So dear students, teachers are not simply, they are not spoon feeders. They are simply the guide. हिन्ने तपाई हो, पढ्ने तपाई हो, मेहनत तपाई हो, हामी त simple. We are simply the guide to show you where the path goes. Now, Osho talks about 5 dimensions of education. You see, in this lesson, 5 dimensions. What are the 5 dimensions? Let me tell you one by one. So before that, what we need to understand is the world have changed. The world have changed. The ideas have changed. So we need to be informative. We need to be informative, and we need to create the world, and create the world of language, world of history, world of brotherhood. First among the 5 dimensions, the first one is informative. Second one is inquiry of scientific subjects. Third one is sense of humor. Fourth one is art and creativity. And the fifth one is art of dying. So in this lesson, these 5 dimensions of education has been discussed. Now, let's explain this, each of the dimensions in detail. First, informative. What do you mean by informative? Learning or education means to sharing the knowledge through language. Language is important. You learn different subjects. You learn history. You learn geography. You learn many other subjects which are dealt not only with the textbooks but also with the television and computer together. अहिले हेर्नुस् त, हामीले यहाँ तपाईसँगै कम्प्युटरको, मोबाइलको पनि युज गरिरहेका छौं, बुकको नलेजको युज गरिरहेका छौं. We are sharing the knowledge by using the technological means. Every person, the Osho says in this text, every person at least should know 2 languages. One is your mother tongue, जुन तपाई बोल्नुहुन्छ. Other is English. Why? Because English has become an international language around the world. That's why we should create. पढ्ने भनेको घमण्डी बनाउने भन्ने होइन. पढ्ने भनेको तपाईलाई simple man बनाउने हो, simple women, simple human being, and create atmosphere of brotherhood. एक आपसमा मेलमिलापको भावना क्रिएट गर्ने हो. So here, this is very important point. Language connects people, language disconnects people. That's why connection among the people is important. त्यही भएर भन्छ नि नेपालीमा पनि, हेर्नुस्, शत्रु बनाउने पनि भाषा नै हो, साथी बनाउने पनि भाषा नै हो. So look, language is important. That's why you should be able to create the people around you. No matter what population is controlled, language has been created. Nowadays, several languages has been learned. अरु भाषा पनि सिक्न जरुरी हुन सक्छ, Spanish and Chinese. But among English is widely spread language around the world. There might be Spanish people say that their language should be international language. There are some debates. To avoid these debates, language like Esperanto. Esperanto means an artificial language has been created. Likewise, absolutely, it is necessary to create 2 languages. One is mother tongue, which makes you to share your feelings and with other person. And when you travel the world, it is important to know about international language too. Second point. Second dimension is scientific inquiry, which looks at the reality. When we scientific means something that follows systematic order. Here we look at the reality. what is true, what is not true, what is right, what is not right, or wrong, let's say. So we need to be logical. You say कसैले हुन्छ भन्यो ठिकै छ भन्यो किन ठिकै छ हामीले logic or scientific inquiry, we need to provide logic or scientific inquiry. Education makes people sad, education makes people serious. This is what you need to think of. Education is a part of life, dear students. Education is a part of life. So we need to think of what education is, what life is, why life is important than any other things in our context. We need to think of. So education should make the people happy. But what happened? The past education made the people sad and serious. People, when you are sad or when you are serious, the life becomes like a wastage. Therefore, Osho says in this lesson that education need to make us happy. Add laughter. And we also see happiness with the nature. You see, nature is very, very powerful. तपाईहरु विभिन्न कोही साथीहरुलाई हामी कुरा भएको थियो. Some of you are in Parvat, some of you are in Magdi, some of you are in Baglung, some of you are in Shangja, some of you are in Pokhara, some of you are in other places. Look the beauty of nature. Pokhara itself is a place where we have lots of beauty in the nature. So it talks about education makes. Second one is scientific inquiry, it says so. And let me add further few more things with this section itself. Next idea that the author shares is the number 3 goes with the sense of humor, right? And the fourth idea that we go with the things is art and creativity. Now, let me share with the idea for you with the things called sense of humor. What is humor? The main important point, humor means make the thing that makes you laugh. Humor, right? So the thing that makes you laugh, let me quick check. The thing that makes you laugh is sense of humor. So the author says, Osho says that we need to make our life happy. We need to, here author says, life is equal to happy. If there is no happiness, it does not make the things. You see, life should, there are lots of things, lots of lights to life. Life is in the nature. You see, life is in the nature. Birds cry, birds singing, trees, greenery. You see, trees, greenery, sounds, and love towards animals is very important. Well, the author has given some example. You see, sometimes we kill animals for our food. Author says this idea is not good. Example, the author gives an example from the Palestinian people. Palestine people or Palestine, example of Palestine people, or people itself is a Palestine. So I wrote the idea on the bracket, Palestine, where there was no food. So they asked their government, to allow them, to eat the dead body of the human beings, or of the human beings who get killed or who get died in an accident, because there was no food to eat. The government said yes. The government surprisingly said yes, because food is short and people cannot be left hungry. But now, and such incidents, such incident made a wrong message that they started killing the people, sometimes stealing the children, and they thought